There are some questions the audience is asking. Can I please have the pleasure of you answering them?
Absolutely.
One of the questions is real estate still worth it in 2025?
Real estate is still worth it in 2025, and the reason is simple. If you, the buyer, has the ability of identifying properties that are discounted to the market, that means properties that have built-in equity, say property with 30-40% below the market, that gives you an opportunity of buying a property that has cash flow, built-in equity, and the ability for you to have a turnover. So if you have cash flow, you have, of course, equity in it, then it makes sense from an economic point of view against negating the high interest rate of over 7 or 7.5%. So if you have something that covers that interest rate, still gives you cash flow, puts money in your pocket, then it makes sense that at the end of the day, you're still making money. Of course, identifying all potential red flags. So red flags that can affect that property. Once you eliminate all the red flags, you have cash flow, you'll be good to go.
How much money do I need to start?
Well, that's a great question. So, first of all, you can get started with zero cash flow, and I'm going to explain how. Now, we have what they call the Smart Start system. So, with the Smart Start system, where an investor says, "Hey, I have zero funds, I have 500 credits. My credit score is so low; it's about 500 or less than 500." We have a system. We start with first of all building their credits, moving them to the level where they get into the 600, 700, helping them understanding how to get 0% APR for over 18 months. So they can qualify from anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 in credits for their LLC. That's one. Number two, if you have some cash flow, say about $10,000, you can qualify for FHA financing. So that FHA finance is about 3.5% down, which gives you opportunity to start with as little capital as possible to get into the real estate market. So in both ways, if you have zero capital, yes, you can get started, but we're going to build up the phase for you by giving you access to funding from, of course, reputable funds, giving you 0% APR for over 18 months, which means you can qualify from $25,000 to over $50,000 in your LLC without you having to have any capital of your own.
What is the worst deal you have ever made?
Worst deal I have ever made is so I had a deal that was I would say was really a bad deal because the seller, the listing broker. So the thing is this: most time when we want to buy a property, we just trust the listing broker, and so whatever the listing broker says is what we just take hook, line, and sinker. But the problem with the listing brokers is they don't give you the fact, they don't tell you the truth. So if I go on regular platforms like Zillow, Craigslist, LoopNet, I'll just name all the platforms you have out there in the US. All these platforms just list a property's description. That's why I built InvestFusion. Now I built InvestFusion to eliminate the worst deal I made. And in that deal, I paid in due diligence fee of over $5,000. I paid NS money deposits of over $5,000. Of course, I paid an inspection fee of about $625 and another $525 for appraisal fee. It was during my DDF period, what they call due diligence period. Now, that's a period where the buyer agrees to pay the seller a fee to take the property off the market. Now, during that period, we found out that same property that the listing broker has listed has structural damage, foundation issues, foggy windows. They also have electrical issues. So it's like buying a Rolls Royce with no engine. Yes, you have a Rolls Royce, but there's no engine. And so you can't drive that vehicle eventually. It's not possible. So that's what happened. So trusting the listing broker was the worst mistake I made. And that made me, from the pain points I've experienced, to go ahead and build InvestFusion. So with InvestFusion, it's going to eliminate that same issues, that same pain, that same heartache I've experienced by having that kind of a deal.
But do I need the perfect credit to start investing?
So the answer is no, you don't need a perfect credit. Like I said earlier on. So we have what they call the Smart Start system. Yes, it's like a blueprint. In that blueprint, we have 5 stages. So you can start with stage 1. Stage 1 is where you are with, say, 500 credit score or lower than 500 credit score. Zero income. You have zero income. That's level 1. Now, from level 1, we're going to introduce the Smart Start system for you that will take you from level 1. We're going to start building your credit. We have a system, a process we use to build your credits within a 90-day to 180-day period to get you from 500 into the 700 mark. Now, at the 700 mark, we now give you access to understanding how to use a business LLC to get funding of $25,000 to over $50,000. Now, with that LLC, you now have capital in your hand. But again, it's 0% APR. So that's APR means for 0% APR for 18 months. It means for 18 months you have access to funding, which is about $25,000 to over $50,000. Now with that, you can now we'll now give you with InvestFusion to identify the right kind of properties with built-in equity. So it's a win-win across the board. One, you have 0%, you have low credit score, no funds. We'll give you access to funding, we build your credit score, we teach you how to find the best deals in the market that has zero risk, because it's about avoiding risk. So everybody will tell you out there, you can cash flow. But how about cash flowing where there's no risk? So without risk, then you can now get built-in equity, you have income in your pocket, you have financing, you're collecting money from rents, and then you can go ahead and make a deal worthwhile. So all of that would help you at the end of the day be able to cash flow in the long term.
But what if I have a 9-to-5 job? Can I still invest?
So yes, if you have a 9-to-5 job, the goal right now is we're using AI to basically knock off all the hard work for you, where with AI in less than 15 minutes, sometimes even less than 10 minutes, you can find a deal anywhere in the US that has 30% below market, built-in equity, below replacement costs, cash flowing, analyze the rental property, the rent among in the market area, find a location for you, give you everything basically that you want as an investor in the property you're going to buy. So it can do all of that for you in less than 15 minutes. So with your 9-to-5 job, AI has found a way whereby it can knock off all the hard work. The physical inspection that we usually do, you travel to the States, you go and see the property, you do have pay travel costs, hotel bills, all of that. AI can give you the first leg in and let you know if there's any violation in the property, such as environmental violation, zoning violation, if there's any structural damage, foundation issues. With InvestFusion, our AI power platform, it does all of that legwork for you in minutes. And so when you have that in your fingertips in 15 minutes, then the next step is for you to call your broker and then proceed with the deal. So 9-to-5 job is wonderful. It doesn't stop you from doing your 9-to-5. In fact, keep your 9-to-5 because you have access to cash flow. But finding a great deal comes with utilizing AI to help you discover these kind of gems in the market.
What is the easiest way to get started with no experience?
So the easiest way to get started is going through mentors. Of course, you want people who understand the real estate market, who can give you the guide, the direction to do it. The beauty of what we've done is, even for a beginner who has no experience, you can start by leveraging the power of InvestFusion, because InvestFusion has collapsed over 20 years of industry experience into one umbrella. Not just that, it combines for the very first time in the entire US market, it combines both multi-family units and commercial property in one umbrella. So irrespective of your experience, irrespective of your knowledge in the market, with InvestFusion, it can begin to break down years of experience in minutes and spit out properties that are 30, 40. In fact, as a matter of fact, on my life, I found a property that was 90.09% below the market in Minnesota. I'm not living there. I don't know anyone in that area. But with InvestFusion, you could find the property all the way down there. So that's the power of this. So without experience, you don't need experience. As long as you can click a button, you have a laptop or a mobile phone, and you can read and write, that's all you need to get started with real estate. And of course, if you don't have funds, we're going to give you, using the Smart Start system, help you build up your access, build up your credits to the point you qualify for 0% APR and then qualify for funding, and then of course have access to the right gems in the market with InvestFusion.
How would I know if a property is a good deal?
So that's a very great question. I've had people ask that question. How do I know if it's a good deal? How do I know if it's worth it? First of all, don't trust what you see on the listing, because just trusting the listing is what burns my fingers. So the first thing is use InvestFusion to identify a property with built-in equity. If you currently have one property in mind and you're not sure if it's a good deal or not, just go and run it into InvestFusion. It's going to run it for you and give you the numbers. It's going to identify, first of all, if it's below market value. It's going to look at the location. If it's in a prime location, which means in location where the income of the average household income is above the US average. It's going to also track for any potential red flags. Among those red flags are foundation issues, structural issues, 4K windows, big ticket items, we call them BTI. Then once it does that, it's going to look at the cash flow opportunity. It's going to calculate the interest rate, current interest rate, as against the equity in the property. So it's only going to identify a property that is below replacement cost. It's very important, not below asking price. So people confuse asking price to buying below asking price as equity. No, that's not equity. Buying below replacement cost is equity. So replacement cost is the cost it takes you to build a brand new property from the ground up. That cost, if you buy below that cost, that's equity. And so with InvestFusion, it's going to give you those deals. So that's when you know you have a good deal, because it has done all the heavy lifting for you. It has found the property, it has given you the opportunity to get the right cash flow in a property, and then that's a good deal for you as an investor. Don't forget, it's calculating your current expense to look at your profitability as well. So once it knocks off all expenses and it gives you profit, then you know you're in the right kind of deal.
What if I don't know anything about real estate?
So, again, if you don't know anything about real estate, that's where we step in. With our experience, we'll guide investors on the right process to take. We guide them on what to avoid. We guide them on the landmines, how to avoid all the landmines. Landmines are properties that are hidden. They use paint to cover all the things you can't see. You might have leaking roof. They use paint to cover it. They use the foundation is having an issue. You can't tell on your physical eyes. That's where we step in. So that's where with InvestFusion, it can help you narrow that experience gap and then give you that leverage to become profitable in the long term.
Last question. If you had to start right now with $0, what would you do?
So if I'm going to start right now with $0, that's what most of our viewers are currently. They have $0, they have very poor credits, but they want to get involved in real estate. Now, the very first thing to do is, first of all, we'll access where you are. You can even use, as we all know, ChatGPT. There's a prompt, you can request that prompt. Just comment the word ChatGPT on the video or below on the link anywhere you're watching this right now, and says, I will give you a prompt that you can use on regular ChatGPT. It's going to help you, first of all, query all your inquiries on your credit reports. We're going to go into those credit reports and query them. Once we query those queries, we'll build you to a level where follow a system will help you go from 500, 400 credit score to over 600, 700. Once you get to the 700 threshold, in fact from 670 threshold to 700 threshold, we'll give you a step to registering your LLC in your LLC. That LLC will now, because the banks look at your personal credit before they go into your business credits. So your personal credits, a collateral, so to speak, for your business credits. So with the personal credits, once you build your personal credit, it tells the bank that you're credit worthy. It tells the bank that you're someone that is competent enough. So with that, you can get funding for your LLC. LLC can be qualified from $25,000 to $50,000, even $100,000. We've seen investors get over $144,000 in funding. So with that access of funding, 0%, that's a lot of capital on your hands. So at that point in time, you can now look with InvestFusion, find discounted properties below the market. So the risk again is gone, because one, InvestFusion flagged all risk. So you're not buying a landmine, you're buying quality, you're buying gems, and that's where. So at that point in time, with cash flow, with built-in equity, you're already at the peak, and then all you have to do is to replicate that process over and over again. So you can go from one property to two properties to three, four, and then you can expand into several millions of dollars, and that's how we're able to build this entire level where we are right now. All right, but thanks for the questions, though. It's good hearing what the viewers are saying. So if you're watching this right now, the goal is simple. InvestFusion is the tool that we use to leverage the playing field. It's what Wall Street. Think of InvestFusion as your own forensic report that does the research for you without you having to lift a finger, and narrow the playing field for all investors.